Well, my freshman year in college is probably the greatest year in my life. I don't know when I've ever had more fun. I didn't learn anything, but I had more fun. And I had some really unusual experiences. One of these has to do with the very tail end of my freshman year in college. It was the last day of school, and I was leaving to go home with my best buddies, Ed Clark and Elmore Avery. Now, Ed Clark was a great big guy, 6'3", 265 pounds, sort of jumpy and spooky. Elmore, my other buddy, was 6 feet tall and weighed 130 pounds. 8 pounds of that was Adam's apple. He was wearing a size 20 skin on a size 12 frame. It just sort of loose and hung there all the time. And these were my best buddies. We sang in a quartet together and traveled around and had all kinds of fun. And this was the end of our freshman year, and we were heading home. Now, we were driving in Ed's car as far as Dallas, Texas. We were in school at Wayland Baptist College in Plainview, Texas, a little small campus located out in the isolated plains of West Texas. Like most Baptist colleges, 8 miles from the nearest known sin. And we had left Wayland and started home from our freshman year in college. Now, we were driving in Ed Clark's 1950 Plymouth convertible. And Ed was driving, and we were going across through this barren, desolate West Texas country. Now, any of you that have ever been to West Texas know what I'm talking about. It's the world's capital of zero. There's more nothing per square foot in West Texas than anywhere else in the world. Now, I grew up out there, so I can josh it a little bit. But it really is nothing. But they love their nothing. They're proud of their nothing. In fact, they spend thousands and thousands of dollars putting fences around their nothing. They're going to keep your something off their nothing, no matter what they do. So we're driving through the world's headquarters of nothing, heading back home to Dallas. Now, this is from the central part of the little square top of Texas, all the way across the fat hump of Texas, over on the top right side. Dallas is over there. It's about 350 miles on a line from Plainview to Dallas. Now, we'd rigged the car up in a very special way that day because it was already hot, 92, 94, 96 degrees last week in May. We're heading home in all of this heat and decided that going down the road, we really needed to rig the car up in such a way that we could sunbathe as we traveled. Now, what this amounted to was we filled the back seat of Ed's convertible with boxes, books, double-bag suitcases, anything that would support weight. And then we covered all of that over with a blanket. The effect was just like filling the back seat up with sand and then leveling it off. And when you put the top back on the convertible, right behind the driver's seat was just a level platform, even with the now top of the car. You got that picture? That's really important to this story. So here we have the car leveled off. We head out across West Texas, and about 10:30 in the morning, the temperature's climbing up into the 90s. We're starting to get hot and sticky in the car. The windows are down. Our hair's getting thick and oily, whipping and lashing around our heads. So I said, man, Ed, let's put the top back and get some sun. So we stopped the car, put the top back, and I crawled up first to sunbathe. I don't know if you ever sunbathed at 65 miles an hour or not. You don't get tan, but you get there in a hurry. And here we were, blistering across West Texas in the open air. Now, I'm lying up on the back of the car, and I discovered 2 or 3 problems. First, you had to keep your knees doubled up all the time. If you're on your back, you had to keep them doubled up, or you'd drag your heels in the wheel. If you're on your stomach, you had to keep them doubled up, because if you straighten them out and hit a bump, your knees went the wrong way. So I'm lying on the back of the car sunbathing, and when you got on Levi's with your knees bent in a high wind and hot, the back of your legs just get soggy, all up in the knee. And it was just squishy soggy. And I was so uncomfortable. And on top of that, the sun is bearing down and the wind is lashing and whipping and your hair feels like it needs an oil change. And I'm fighting all this, and cars would go by and kick up little teeny pieces of rocks and gravel, and they go ricochet off my chest. So after about 45 minutes, I'd enjoyed all this I could stand. I decided it was time for me to get down. I did. Elmore decided it was time for him to get up. He did. Now, Elmore got on the back of the car to sunbathe. We had planned to stop in Denton, Texas to see his girlfriend at North Texas State College as we went past. We're going to detour a little bit. So Avery had worn a really good-looking creased pair of dress pants, and he had on a really good-looking hand-ironed sport shirt, short sleeves, rolled up 4 licks. That used to be cool. And we had all this stuff all fixed up, and Avery was looking so nice wearing Old Spice and stuff, and he was really, really nifty. He got up on the back of the car, folded his shirt neatly, and laid it between Ed and me in the seat and stretched out to sunbathe. After about 10 minutes, he discovered the same problem I did with the bent knees. His good dress pants, well creased, were getting soggy in the back of the knees. Everett decided he either had to quit or get out of those britches or something. He decided to get out of those britches. Now, Everett's lying on the back of the car, 65 miles an hour in a high wind across West Texas, and decides that he better change pants. He didn't see any reason to stop Ed because we're out in the middle of nowhere, right? There's as much nothing out here as you will ever see in one. On a clear day, you could see South Dakota. So, Everett's lying up on the back of the car and finally decides that he's got a duffel bag, he remembers, down in all this stuff somewhere. So what he's going to do is fish around in a duffel bag and find an old pair of pants, put those on until later, then he'll switch back, put on the good pants, and be looking nifty when he gets to Denton. Okay, so Everett says, hey, Nutt, scoot up. So he shoves me up against the windshield. Now, I'm up against the windshield, holding on to the top of it, in a convertible with the top down, right? And the wind's hitting me just above the eyebrows. And I'm up here holding on to the windshield trying to watch Everett. Now, he's holding the seat up against me with his forehead, right? And then he's back with his hands in this duffel bag, rooting like a gopher hunting roots, trying to find a pair of pants. Well, I'm getting tickled at all of this, and I'm watching him over my left shoulder. While I was watching him, I discovered that on the little tunnel where the drive shaft goes through the car, there was a little cardboard box that Everett had with a few of his little wood carvings and stuff off his desk. And one of the things there was the lampshade off of his desk lamp. Now, I didn't have sunglasses or a cap, and there was a bright glare, so I just picked the lamp up and put it on my head. Now, here we're going down the highway. Ed's driving 6'3", 265, wearing mirror sunglasses. That means you got you on the front and him on the back, you know? Hadn't got his shirt on, and the hair on his shoulders is going in the wind. A hairy-shouldered guy in a high wind looks weird. I've noticed that. So here's Ed driving the car down the road, and I'm sitting over here wearing a lampshade. I look like a Shriner without the tassel. So, it's a pretty clever-looking group. See, coming down the highway, 65 miles an hour, sunglasses, lampshade, and all this stuff, and Everett up on his hands and knees hunting for clothes. He finally finds a swimsuit down in his duffel bag. He says, that'll do, sunbathe swimsuit. So he pulls his swimsuit out, pulls the seat back, and I ka-fonk back against the seat. Now, you see, I'm all relaxed, so I kind of put my arm up and twist in the seat to watch this. It's going to be comical, I could just guarantee you. Now then, Everett's all ready, he gets his courage up and decides it's time to change clothes. So he gets up on his hands and knees and checks out the territory. Now he's looking as straight and as far down the road as he can. Man, there's nothing out here. He looks all the way behind him, nothing. Just a few old oil wells nodding their heads. There's one old steer out there and he isn't looking. Nothing but tumbleweeds and Hershey wrappers for as far as you can see. So it's desolate territory, Everett's moment, you see. So he clears it out, takes a deep breath, grabs his belt, undoes his good dress pants, folds them neatly, lays them in the seat, grabs his swimsuit, puts one foot in, and then discovers a major problem. It's a jockey swimsuit, and he's wearing boxer shorts. Now, I don't know if you ever tried to put on jockey swimsuits over boxer shorts in a high wind or not. But it really was comical. Here's old Everett sitting up here, and these britches are just going boom, you know, like he just parachuted in, you see, boom, out there. And he'd get one leg stuffed in and the other, and it'd boom out. And he'd work back and forth, and he couldn't get the swimsuit on over the britches. Well, I'm just cracking up. You know, I couldn't hardly stand it. So while I'm sitting here watching, Everett decides that he's got to do something. He decides that he'll take off the underwear and then put on the shorts. Remember, he is up on all these boxes in clear, plain view of the whole world. Now that is crucial to our story. Don't you forget it. So here's Everett up in plain sight now, out in the middle of barren, bald, naked West Texas. So he gets up on his knees one more time. He checks out the road ahead. Hershey wrappers, all that stuff. And then he looks behind. Nothing's behind. So takes another deep breath, hooks his thumb in the waistband, shimmies out of his underwear. He throws it in the floorboard in the front seat. He grabs his jockey swimsuit, puts one foot in. We topped a hill and went through Henrietta, Texas. it was right downtown. And I saw what was happening, so I hit Ed on the arm, and he looked back and slowed down to 20. And then he got on the horn, blah, 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 blah. And then I stood up wearing the lampshade and started waving at everybody. Wait. And I looked back, and Avery was up on his hands and knees with his face hidden, with his bare back end shining